Shut up and sit down.
It's the Maryland Sports Blog Weekly Recap Show, hosted by Adam Goff.
Holiday weekend, and we had a bit of technical errors last time. So you'll be watching this on a Tuesday, but it's going to be basically the exact same as it is every single week. We'll start off with the Orioles and Ravens, then talk a little bit of Navy football. Their game actually be over by the time this comes out tomorrow, but at the time we're recording this, they're going to start playing in about 30 minutes. After that, we'll just do a little bit of a dive into the DC teams, and that'll be all. It'll be a bit of a short one this week, but to start things off, we're going to talk a little bit of Orioles with Brian.
Hey, so the Orioles had an interesting week. It was an all New York week. The Orioles played the Mets and the Yankees. Before that, I think it was the Blue Jays that they played at the end of August. And yeah, it ended on a pretty big high note. The Orioles recalled one of their top pitching prospects, Dean Kramer. He pitched yesterday. Also, they recalled they didn't recall, but Keegan Aiken got his second career start. The Orioles have won 3 straight games, and they're all against the New York Yankees, and they're right back in the playoff hunt. Dean Kramer and Keegan Aiken pitched outstanding. They both got wins, and the future is bright for the Orioles. DJ Stewart got called back up after really struggling his first go-round. He got his first 3 hits were home runs. His first hit of the season was a monster home run off Jared Cole, who is never an easy home run. And then on Sunday, he started the game off with a 2-run shot and then got a single beating the shift. So DJ Stewart has gotten off the snide in a big way. Some bad news for the Orioles. It looks like Anthony Santander is done for the season with an oblique strain. But like I said, it ended on a really high note for the Orioles this week. They are off on Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to you, Adam. And all our listeners out there, happy Labor Day. But coming up for the Orioles, they are playing the Mets starting tomorrow. They're going to be having another short 2-game series, and then playing the Yankees again. That will be a 4-game series. So the Orioles have a chance to really make up some ground. They played really well against the Yankees, really in all facets of the game. Bullpen was great. The starting pitching was solid, and their hitting was really solid too. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Orioles.
I'll throw it right back to you. What's been going on with the Ravens?
So the Ravens cut down to their 53-man roster. Not too many surprises. This is the first time in 16 years an undrafted rookie free agent did not make the Ravens' initial 53-man roster, of course. They do have an expanded practice squad this year with 16 players. So there is always a chance that you'll see some undrafted guys. There are some really good-looking guys that played, but without the preseason, it's just really hard to evaluate players. There was no guys like who was it, Jamil Hill a few years back that just lit it up in the preseason and made the team. Chris Moore is making the team despite missing all the training camp with finger injury. He is a special teams ace. He will provide depth on the wide receiver chart. The Ravens are keeping all 4 running backs, Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, the rookie second-round pick, Gus Edwards, and Hill. So the Ravens have stacked at running back. They're rolling with 2 pure tight ends. Patrick Ricard will probably see some snaps in the tight end position as well as a fullback and defensive tackle position. So that was a little bit of a surprise that the Ravens are only going to run with 2 tight ends or 2 pure tight ends with Nick Boyle and Mark Andrews. They traded Hayden Hurst before the draft. That was a pretty big trade for them. I mean, they got with essentially the pick that they got was with J.K. Dobbins, but they did leave a hole in the tight end position a little bit. But again, with that, they are going to be using their wide receivers more. They are deep at wide receiver with good young talent. They all have good hands. Hollywood Brown is poised to have a really big breakout season. He's healthy. He put on about 25 pounds of muscle. So it's exciting. The Ravens play on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And I think all Ravens fans are excited. They're playing the Browns. And we'll see how it goes without fans for the NFL. It'll be really interesting to see because, more than any other sport, football, the fans have a major impact, and especially when it comes to defenses and how the crowd reacts like when the defense is on the field. Are they affecting the offensive play calls, the home field advantage? It's a lot, and you can't really simulate that with a bunch of speakers.
Yeah, I think football is the only sport where fans can actually really make a difference. Basketball, hockey, baseball, they're all there. But in football, you can drown out the snap count so much that you cause a delay of game. And that's just, it's going to be something that's going to be missed a lot. And that home field advantage that there is, especially when it comes to playoff time, hopefully by the playoffs, everything can clear up and there can be some fans there. But at least for the early regular season games, those big, tight fourth quarters they're just going to be different.
Yeah, and not all fan bases and not all home field advantages are the same. Like the Baltimore Ravens, the Seattle Seahawks, they have great home field advantages. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs also are one of them, even before the Patrick Mahomes era and Andy Reid. They have always had a really, really loud stadium. Teams like the Miami Dolphins have not. So if you go and simulate it, it wouldn't not be fair to try to simulate Miami Dolphins home field advantage at the level that the Seattle Seahawks would have, right? It's a lot different. The Cincinnati Bengals fans are not going to be cheering as hard as the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. It's just the honest truth that the certain home field advantages are better than others.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be definitely interesting to see what happens. I mean, I don't think we've had any fake crowd noise in the past, except you could say the Atlanta Falcons had that whole scandal a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But
from what I understand, it's going to be just like a little music here and there and like a little clap of a cheer. It's not going to be the same as, hey, we're going to try to drown out the offense and crank it to 11. I think it's going to be just a respectable clap and, hey, touchdown Ravens. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, and so moving on to another thing of football, in about 20 minutes from the time that we're recording this, Navy, as you can see, I have my Navy jersey on right here, their season opener.
It's a good jersey too.
Their season opener against BYU on ESPN. I hope everyone here watched it. We're going to have the review of the game up on the MSB website, and next week we'll have Brian Powell on, and he's going to talk a bit of a review of that BYU game, and then he'll also probably do a preview of what else there is to look forward to for Navy football. But that's really all there is for Baltimore sports, and then Navy football, their season opener today. And you guys are watching this on Tuesday. And I think that's all for the Baltimore sports, unless you have anything else, Brian.
Just mention that the Navy football team, as of now, is the only Division I football team in Maryland that is currently set to play this season. Maryland Terrapins, the Big Ten, currently we don't know what's going on. It looks like there are rumors out there that it could come back around October, November, or maybe play in the spring. CAA with Towson has already canceled, and the MEAC with Morgan State looks like a no-go as well. So the 4 big Division I football teams, out of all them, Navy is going to be the only one playing. So enjoy it. When we would get a treat and get 4 local college football games at the Division I level, we're down to 1 a week. So enjoy the Navy.
Yeah, definitely. And if it has to be one of them, Navy's probably the one that I would pick. Either them or Maryland, although Maryland is just them getting dominated at this point where the program is. But, Navy's always competitive. It should be a really good game against BYU. I'm super excited to watch it in just a couple minutes.
The past 10 years, I honestly put money that Navy has had the better program. I mean, yes, they haven't had the first-round picks and everything, but they are handcuffed with their recruits and everything. So Navy has cracked the top 25 a few times in the past 10 years. Maryland has on occasion, but then has fallen off. I think last year they peaked at the top 25 after the first 2 games and absolutely fell off for the rest of the season. But Navy's been consistent. They have won a lot of really good games in the past 10 years. They've had some good quarterbacks with Keenan Reynolds and Perry, who just made the Miami Dolphins team, if I remember correctly. Brian Powell was talking about that too. So I'd say Navy's been the past 10, even 15 or 20 years, the best football team in Maryland. So college wise.
Yeah, Maryland hopes to retake that spot. They've got a couple really good recruiting classes coming in. They also have Tua Tagovailoa's brother, Tauila. That's not an easy name to pronounce, but he's their new quarterback. And if we do have Maryland football in October, November-ish, I don't think they'll be as bad as they've been in the past. They've got a couple good guys coming in, and Coach Loxley could turn the tide for the Terps, and hopefully we'll have 2 really good programs in the area.
Yeah, we're hoping. The Towson Tigers have definitely had their bright spots in the past 10 years too. Remember, one of the biggest moments was the Grant Enders and Terrence West Towson Tigers. They were one of Jimmy Garoppolo's last losses. They lost in the semifinals in the CAA, or not the CAA, the FCS semifinals. They beat Jimmy Garoppolo and his team, and that was the last loss Jimmy Garoppolo had, and for a good number of seasons because he went on that winning streak. Towson went on to lose in the championship game in a very close game. But, yeah, Towson's had their bright spots too. They're not going to always be on the level of Navy or Maryland, but they've definitely had their good years. And Morgan State, Josh Miles came from there. He's playing in the NFL. He was their first draft pick, and I think 20 to 30 years out of Morgan State. So it is missed the college football in this area. It's definitely going to be a different fall.
Yeah, everything is different though at this point.
Yeah.
So I think now we're gonna move into the DC sports, and to start off, the Washington Nationals are just awful. I don't think there's anything else you can say except awful. They're just bad. They got swept by the Phillies earlier this week. They lost 2 out of 4 against the Braves. They are around 12 games under 500 at this point. And right now, at the point of recording, they're beating the Rays 3-0. Hopefully that keeps going. But it's just bad. Mike Rizzo, if any positives, Mike Rizzo re-signed this week, but with the way he's general managed this team coming into this year, yes, he won a World Series, and this is just some current bias, but he hasn't done that good. And obviously, he's the guy who brought them a World Series, so he's going to deserve a new contract. But he's got to step up his game. He's got to have a big free agency, a big offseason this upcoming year. He said one of his biggest priorities is bringing back Davey Martinez. I like that. I like Martinez. I believed him. I still believed in him last year when everyone was saying to fire him back when they were 19-31. I believed in him. I thought he could make it. He did, of course, as they won the World Series. But he's got to prove himself again. He can't just say, oh, we won the World Series, time to sit back and just, relax, get some post-World Series good big contract. He's got to earn it. And for him to earn it, he has to turn this team around. They're not out of the playoffs. They're playing awful, but, 2 teams in each division make the playoffs and then an extra 2. It's unlikely, but they've got a chance. And for them to do it, they've got to go on a big winning streak. And they've got the Braves again this week. It's not easy to win a lot against the Braves. They're a really good team. But if they're going to do it at all, it's now September 7th. It's 23, 24 days until October. They've got to turn it around right now. And if they don't turn it around right now, they're done, and we're going to have a really long offseason here in D.C. So over for Washington football team, they also had their 53-man roster finalized. If there's any big news about it, Trey Quinn not returning. Adrian Peterson was cut earlier in the week. I really like the move. It gives a lot of time for Antonio Gibson, who I absolutely love. I think he's going to be a gem. I think he's one of the more underrated picks in the draft. I think he's going to be amazing. Also, Bryce Love, who is outstanding at Stanford, gives him a lot of chance to shine after his knee injury. From what I've heard, his knee is completely fine now. It's back to the way it was when he was in college, and if it is, he's got a chance to really be another breakout player as kind of a third down back. And then the coaches really like Peyton Barber. He should do pretty good. He's only 26, and he's had an okay career so far, but he should do pretty good, kind of evening out the workload with Gibson and Love, who both really haven't played that much recently. Other than that, not that much news. Dwayne Haskins is confirmed to be the starter. Alex Smith, though did make the roster. I'd be surprised if Haskins get hurt. I'd be surprised if they did put in Smith. I think Kyle Allen's their backup. But you know what? We'll see what happens. I think we're all just happy that Smith is back. Even if he doesn't play, I think he's got a chance to be comeback player of the year, just considering he was close to dying, and now he's on a 53-man roster.
Yeah, I think for speaking about Alex Smith, I think fans are happy that, hey, he's out there, but no one really wants to see him play. It's a health risk. I mean, his leg is still wrapped up, bandaged up. There's some device that's on his leg that we were talking, we can't figure out what it is. Hey, even if he's running the practice squad, he's helping Washington football team, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Even in non-contact drills, he's always been a smart quarterback, a mobile quarterback. He's probably not as mobile. I mean, he's definitely not as mobile as he was before.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's Haskins' team. It's his time to shine. But you're right. I don't think they would turn to Alex Smith if Haskins got hurt. I think it's more of a situation, hey, you can do so much practice-wise to help us prepare for our games. I mean, why wouldn't you when you're already committed to paying him? They have him under contract. They're going to pay him anyway. If Alex Smith did get cut, I think he would have retired. But again, financially, it's like the hands are tied. It's, hey, why don't we actually get some use out of him?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like you said, this is Haskins' team, and he knows he's got a really big chip on his shoulder. It's a really big quarterback class coming into the draft. You have Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. I'm completely blanking on his name, but North Dakota State's quarterback has a chance to be as good as Carson Wentz was. And it's a quarterback-heavy draft, and this is Haskins' time to shine. He's shown what he's done in the offseason, but he's got a big week one task ahead of him against the Eagles. They've got a good defensive line with Fletcher Cox there. He's getting up there in age, but he's still pretty good, and that's going to be the biggest thing for Washington football team. If their offensive line can really play a lot better than we're all thinking, they've got a good chance to have a pretty good year. Other than that, it's a pretty decent team. Wide receiver is really young. You know, McLaurin is coming back. He's gonna be a complete stud. Other than him, it'll be interesting to see what they do at wide receiver, but
it's not a strong division.
It's not at all a strong division.
The Giants were terrible last year. The Eagles were average, and the Cowboys were average or below average. I mean, it's a winnable division for anybody who wants to take it. it's not one of the top divisions in football, honestly. There's a lot of big names with the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants, but there's not much substance there. I mean, we like the Giants quarterback. Carson Wentz is injury prone. He is questionable, but I heard he's going to play. But again, he could go down at any game. Dak Prescott and the whole Cowboy situation. It's really interesting. The Cowboys are probably the best team in that division, but we don't know. It's winnable. The Cowboys have always been the best team in the fall or in the off season and not delivered. I mean, I'm not a Cowboys fan in any way. So, I mean, I think it's kind of hysterical that they get all these primetime games and don't even make the playoffs half the time. So
America's team.
Yeah,
who I don't really. Yeah.
Not really, but
yeah,
that's neither here or there. It's for Washington football team. It is a very winnable division. We'll see what they have, how their draft class plays. More about the NFL. I mean, the Ravens look like they're going to be one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. Colin Cowherd is predicting a 16-0 season and a run all the way to a Super Bowl win. That's more fun to talk about, but don't, because Colin Cowherd has never been a Ravens fan, but he's been talking a lot about this team in a lot of positive ways, all the way from the general manager position to the owners, and really just raving about the Ravens for the past almost a year now. So it's really fun to watch commentators that have historically talked crap about the team, saying positive things. But back to the Washington football team. Yeah, winnable division, very winnable. It really has to do with Haskins. If Haskins goes out and has a horrible season, I don't think he's going to be the quarterback next year.
Yeah, it's do or die for Haskins. This is his shot to shine. He's been given every single piece he's needed. He's been said, this is your team, and I think he's got a good coach for it. I love Ron Rivera, and this is his time to shine. Ron Rivera says he really believes Haskins can be the franchise quarterback. He believes he can be his Cam Newton. Cam Newton, of course, brought Rivera to a Super Bowl, and Rivera believes that can be Haskins too. It's a similar build to the team. They're both very defensively heavy young quarterbacks who were both drafted early, and this is Haskins' time to shine.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we have to talk about this week, unless you have anything else.
Yeah, DC United.
DC United drew their last game against NYCFC. They have their regular season going on right now. They've been okay. Bill Hamid's been hurt recently, but I mean, they've been okay. There's just no hype without Wayne Rooney. They're missing that star, and without Rooney, they're just kind of back to that team that soccer fans watched. Rooney made people excited about the team. They don't have anyone to make them excited. They're just your average mid-tier MLS team at this point.
Win a game here and there, tie. Yeah. We get that. Michael Mazzaro has been covering DC United for us for a few years. He's been doing a good job with the previews and the recaps. The Capitals, not much news. I mean, we talked about Todd Riordan's firing last week. Not much news has come out of that situation. No transactions have been made. They've stayed quiet. I mean, the playoffs are closing in for the NHL. It's been really fun to watch. Some really great hockey. There have been some negative rumors that have come out for the Caps that they treated it like a vacation and they were having pool parties and just partying the entire time. I mean, wouldn't be surprised at all. The Caps have had that reputation long before they won their first Stanley Cup, that they were the team that, hey, Friday, Saturday nights, right before a game, they would be going out and having a good time instead of preparing and concentrating on trying to win. But again, those are just rumors. But it would not be a surprise. There was a lot of tweets that came out this week
Yeah.
about that. I'm not sure if you saw that too.
Yeah, it did. It was very frustrating. I think it shows why Riordan should be gone, especially in an environment like that. You need a coach who's going to make sure everyone is focused and really playing well, and he just didn't have control.
Yeah, I don't blame it on Ovi. I mean, he's the captain. Ovi showed up to play though, so I forget how many goals he had. It was like 4 or 5, if I remember correctly. I mean, Ovi seemed to really try to put the team on his back. John Carlson, as we talked about last week, was clearly hurt. Tom Wilson had a good series. TJ Oshie had a good series. Backstrom was hurt. I mean, those are your leadership guys right there. Even Kuzi played pretty well in times. I mean, he was getting double shifted when Backstrom was out. So, but if the heart of the team, like the leadership guys showed up to play. Let's not be ragging on those guys. But it seemed like the meat of the team did not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And again, yes, that is a Todd Riordan problem. That means the players did not respect him. That means the players were not ready to play. That means they were not disciplined. That is a 100% head coach problem, because a disciplined head coach that has the respect of their team would not be having, oh, yeah, they're partying right before a game that's getting played at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. They had a lot of weird playing times. I know one of the games got delayed because of that extra inning, or why did I say inning? Overtime game. Remember the 5 overtime game, and then they had to delay a game and pushed the Caps back, so they were basically just waiting around in a locker room for a few hours. But again, it all gets pointed to Todd Riordan. A little bit of news: Todd Riordan did sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins to be an assistant. He sold his house in the D.C. area, or at least put it up for sale. Nice $2 million house, but yeah, it was all Todd Riordan. As we had Austin on to play, I mean, I just think Barry Trotz would have had the Caps ready to play. I mean, you talk about other sports teams. John Harbaugh would have had his team ready to play. Great coaches do that. You know, they get their team ready. Their team isn't out partying before a game when they know if they get called, if they're looking sluggish, if they have a bad game, you could be a star player and you're going to get benched the next game if you have the right head coach. They're not going to put up with that.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's all we have. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a great episode. I've been your host, Adam Gotkin, joined alongside Brian Hradsky, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you all for tuning in.
Awesome.